Namaste, beloved. How are you? My name is Syma, and I'm a sacred feminine and spiritual coach, healer, author, and yoga teacher. I have the blessing of supporting women all over the world in reclaiming their sacred feminine power and healing their wounds and clearing their blocks and transforming their lives and creating the lives of their dreams. And I'm so excited to share with you today a video on how to awaken Aphrodite within us, how to embrace our sensuality and take back pleasure. Because one thing I see with my clients so often is that, we are busy professional women, moms, sometimes both, or students even. Some of my clients are students, some are retired and volunteering or, doing what they wish to be doing, living their lives. But no matter what phase of life we find ourselves in, there is this battle to reclaim our sensuality and pleasure in life. And this is such an important topic for us women. It's something I'm so passionate about, and because we have May 1st coming up as I'm making this video, which is Beltane. May 1st, Beltane is a Celtic festival of celebrating sexuality, sacred divine union, sensuality, and fertility, flowers, and it's a fire festival as well. And a couple of days after is my birthday, and being a Taurus woman, my planet, my horoscope sign is ruled by the beautiful goddess Aphrodite. And again, Aphrodite is all about our sacred beauty, sexuality, sensuality, pleasure, and passion, and love. And ancient traditions, goddess traditions, recognize the importance of sensuality and how essential it is in enjoying our life. In fact, the chakra it's connected to is the Sacral Chakra, which is the sexual chakra, the sexual energy center, which is just below the belly button and the navel and the womb, the sexual organs, just around the pubic bone. So that whole area is our womb, our reproductive organs are there, our sexual organs are there, and that's where we hold our sexual power, our sensual power, our power to create fertility. And again, this is no matter what age we are in, and it's also for men as well. And the ancients knew that extracting this joy and sweetness of life is part of being spiritual. So they were so in tune with Mother Nature's cycles and celebrating these cycles through festivals like Beltane, where there was dancing and flowers and garlands and ritual and just lightheartedness. And there was this joy because the body was seen as something natural. It was seen as a vessel of the divine. And like I said, with the sacral chakra being the seat of our pleasure and passion, they were really connected to this part of our sensuality, which for me is one and the same with women's spirituality. Because women's spirituality, we experience our spirituality, we experience the world through our senses in a very physical and sensual way. And if you feel like that hasn't been the case for you, it's simply because, unfortunately, all the conditioning that we've had, sometimes through religious upbringings and the media messages we receive and all the pressures and mixed messages we receive around our body and body image and experiences we have around intimacy and sexuality and relationships and just living really busy, crazy, chaotic lives, now so plugged into technology all the time, it just disconnects us from living in sensuality. So as I was saying, the sensuality is connected to women's spirituality as well as our sacral chakra. Sacral chakra's meaning is the dwelling place of the self. It's so beautiful. The Swadhisthana chakra, that's what it means, and it also is known to mean sweetness and nectar. So when we are connected to our sacral chakra, awakened to the Aphrodite within us, then we have the power to extract the nectar and the sweetness and the joy of life, right? And this is through our sensuality. Aphrodite as a goddess, there's different origin stories, but one of the most famous ones is that she was born from the foam of the cut off, castrated phallus of Uranus, which Kronos cut off. So Uranus was the father of Kronos. Kronos castrated him and his phallus fell into the sea, and from the foam of his castrated genitals arose beautiful Aphrodite. So I know it's a pretty graphic story, but what that represents is Aphrodite is born of pure, raw, primal sexual energy and sensuality. when I do one-on-one healing work with women, whether it's in manifesting soulmate love or coming to self-love or healing body image issues, we talk about Aphrodite as the goddess that she's known to be a goddess of love and beauty and sexuality, but first and foremost, she is a goddess of being fully in love with herself and in love with life and in love with extracting the sweetness and the nectar of life. So it is said that the wildest beasts would become tame and purr like cats around her because she emanated and exuded this love and zest and vitality and beautiful pleasure and passion for life. So wouldn't it be so great to have that, like the ancients did, like the Celtics did when they celebrated Beltane? Because like I said, they knew the body and all of nature and natural pleasures to be divine and sacred. Now, unfortunately, many religions that came since have made the body and sexuality and sensuality and things that bring us pleasure and joy sinful, and there's a lot of guilt associated with them. And as I've said, even our own life experiences can just bring so much more layers of negativity and guilt and uncomfortableness around sensuality. Sometimes even our work environments can be environments where we don't feel comfortable being completely feminine and being in our sensuality. So what I would love to share with you are just, a couple of perspectives and maybe some tips on how you can awaken this sensuality so you can really feel that you are living in oneness with your own inner Aphrodite. So as I said, one of the things you can do is remember that as a woman, your spirituality is sensuality as well. So the divine masculine spirituality is very consciousness oriented, right? Whereas feminine spirituality is, again, being the vessel and bringing spirituality into a very physical form. It's primal life force energy, Shakti prana, becoming form, becoming manifest. So one example of this would be Mother Mary conceiving Christ. She is the physical vessel through which God births himself through Christ, right? So the woman is the vessel. We are the vessels. And as being the vessels, we are so physical. We bring God to earth. We bring God, the divine and sacred union, into form, into being. Many traditions have always talked about the feminine principle being the receptive principle. So that's another beautiful thing, that when we are in our sensuality and that sacral chakra is nice and juicy and open, we attract the things that we want. We attract our desires because we are resting in this beautiful, luscious energy of our desires. Whatever we desire, a job, beautiful friendships, opportunities, beloved, children, purpose in our life, meaning, hobbies, anything that we are desiring, when we are in a state of joy and inspiration and fertility meaning just being so lush and open, being fertile with desire and inspiration and joy, right? So these are all the energies of the beautiful sacral chakra of being in your Aphrodite-ness. Just like I was saying, those wild beasts become tame around her. Everything softens around us when we are radiating this sense of self-love through embracing our sensuality. So how can you bring sensuality into the day-to-day, right? So this is a coaching question for you, is what does sensuality mean to you as a woman? For me, for example, again, being a Taurus woman, it comes very naturally to me. So everything is a sensual experience. Eating food is sensual. I love to eat with my hands. I love to smell and taste and touch and feel my food. It's a multi-sensory experience. Meditation, for example. In my meditation, there's a ritual around it, and this is what the goddess, the priestesses, the feminine traditions, the feminine sacred mysteries were all about, is bringing ritual and sensuality into even our spirituality. So when I meditate, before I even start meditating, I have a whole ritual. I have a beautiful, soft meditation mat and a nice cushion behind me, and then I've got incense. I bring a Tibetan bowl before I, start my meditation. I will anoint myself with essential oils. I have a beautiful mala. So I play really lovely music, and all these experiences are a sensual way of experiencing the divine. And Beltane, again, being the celebration of the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together in sacred union, this is about God-goddess merging. And whereas masculine traditions of spirituality are very much focused on discipline, right? Whether it's Raja Yoga or namaz in Islam and going to church, all these things are about doing these physical practices to connect with the divine in a very spiritual way, which is beautiful, and we need that. What the feminine does is it brings in ritual. So many of these traditions do have ritual in them, and that's what we would call the feminine principle, is lighting that candle or, doing the invocation or the mantra and just experiencing the divine in a really physical way. So again, sensuality and women's spirituality are one and the same. And I hope that you feel empowered to know that to be sensual is your divine nature and your right and your power as a woman. And I invite you to consider how you can bring sensuality into your day-to-day. So just a couple of tips are, if you could take some time to unplug out of social media, out of technology, out of the emails, out of the errands and all of that kind of stuff. I don't have any notifications on my phone, so I don't get bombarded with this person's commenting and that person's emailing. I have set times that I will check my emails or notifications, but I won't get this constant stimulation, because when I'm having my coffee or eating my food or taking a walk with my husband or playing with my niece or taking a bath, I don't want all that bombardment. And that's one thing that you can really do that will help you to stay present and in your senses. And that's another tip, is be in your senses. Don't just drink that coffee, but when it's brewing, smell it. When you're holding it in your hands, let the warmth of the cup radiate through your hands. Inhale it, look at it, and then when you're sipping it, sip it slowly. And if you're saying, Syma, girl, you don't know, I've got my coffee and I'm on my way to work, I don't have time for that, well, then do me a favor and then just take your first 3 sips. So let's make a commitment to ourselves that you will honor yourself by taking 3 conscious breaths or sips in any experience that you're having, right? So if you're in the shower, I invite you to just take 3 breaths of feeling the water, smelling your shower gel, and enjoying being naked in your shower, right? So just make this commitment to me and put in the comments below that you will, commit to this, because I want to know that you are bringing sensuality into the everyday and making the mundane sacred. Because when we bring this kind of awareness, consciousness, intention, sensuality into the day-to-day, it's no longer mundane. It becomes ritual, it becomes divine, it becomes beautiful, and it becomes sensual. So my homework for you is for you to consider 3 ways in which you can bring sensuality into your day-to-day life and how you can really make this a beautiful, sacred experience. Okay, so how can you bring in more pleasure, more joy? Where in your life are things sort of stagnant and blah and boring that need a little vitality, that need that beautiful Aphrodite touch? And remember that you are Aphrodite. She is within you. She is a part of you. And to awaken Aphrodite within you is about treating and knowing your body as a temple of the divine, celebrating it, honoring it, sharing it with only those who will honor it, and ravish and lavish you, and love making to be sacred, and what you put in your body, the foods that you have to be sacred, how you enjoy your body to be sacred, everything to be sensual and beautiful and divine. So that is my invitation to you, my beloved. And if this is something that you want to work more on to heal, because I know as women, we have so many blocks around this sometimes. My past includes so much sexual abuse and trauma from my childhood, and then the post-traumatic effects that I dealt with afterwards. So a lot of intensive and deep healing, and sometimes, of course, these kind of wounds take a lot of time to heal. And hopefully you haven't gone through anything that intensive or traumatic, but intimate relationships, messages from the media, our mom not telling us how beautiful we are, or focusing too much on our prettiness, all these things just create blocks around us, guilt, religion, all that stuff. So if you find that embracing your sensuality, connecting with the inner Aphrodite, attracting and drawing your desires to you in physical form, manifesting, creating, attracting divine, beautiful partners, if these are things that you're struggling with, or in any other area, if you wish to get some divine feminine and sacred feminine support, healing, guidance, and mentorship, it would be my honor to support you. So I welcome you to visit me at flourishinggoddess.com to see if my services, my offerings resonate with you and speak to you. And I have so many resources for you over there. There's this beautiful free 20-minute meditation that you'll get where we go through all the chakras. So you can see my beautiful chakra chart behind me. Of course, the sacral chakra is included, but I take you with 2 goddesses at every chakra to heal and awaken and harmonize that chakra in a sacred feminine way. So please make sure you grab that by signing up to my newsletter on my website, flourishinggoddess.com. I also do weekly readings and share beautiful tips that you won't find on YouTube, and it's just a really nice way for us to stay connected on a day-to-day basis. So please join me on my Facebook and Instagram channels. And for more YouTube inspiration, subscribe to YouTube. Let me know in the comments how this has served you and how I can support you. I'm really considering creating a meditation for women course where I talk about making meditation, celebrating it as women need to meditate, because the meditation traditions that we tend to follow, including mindfulness, are handed down to us from divine masculine male masters, which are beautiful. But women's meditation and spirituality is, again, so much more sensual, and that's something I practice, it's something I teach my clients. So let me know if you'd be interested in some courses or resources and support around women's meditation and spirituality. And if there's anything else, any other topics that you would like to see me cover, as long as they have to do with women, spirituality, healing, the goddess, it would be my pleasure to create for you. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to serve you, to create these resources to support you. I hope this has supported you, and I would love to hear from you how you are going to embrace sensuality and awaken the Aphrodite within you and open to divine pleasure and bliss. Thank you so much for joining me. All my love. Namaste.